We on?
We're on.
Okay, good. Well, welcome to episode 1 of Steven Frain Sister. My name is Pamella Jean, and I'm here with one of my besties.
Hi, I'm Samantha Bennington. Thank you for having me. Who is Steven Frain's sister?
Steven Frain.
Frain. Sorry, I think that's New Yorker Fran Dresser coming out me.
Steven Frain was my brother, who I grew up with, and he unfortunately committed suicide at 19 when I was 15.
You know, today was the first day, and we've been friends for decades. And every time you told me about your brother, you always mentioned 15. And for some reason, I had always just assumed that he was 15 when this happened. And I realized you're the 15-year-old little girl that has survived his passing. And what's hitting home with me so much is realizing that my son is the 15-year-old teenager surviving his father's passing.
Do you mind sharing who his father is and a little bit about your son?
Ooh, the deep breath.
It's hard when you start just doing this, right? It's easier when we're just chatting.
Well, there's no survival kit. There's no manual for this. So my son's father is in the public eye. He's a musician, was one of a major vocalist in a rock band that is known as Linkin Park. For us, it was just my ex-husband,
exactly,
a friend of mine, a business partner of mine, one of my best friends. Your friend as well.
Yeah.
His name is Chester Bennington, and I am Samantha Bennington, and our son is Draven Bennington.
That's hard. I know that's really hard. It's interesting because I know it's fresher for you than it is for me, and I think this is one of the reasons that we wanted to do this, because even though it's not as fresh, it's still, my loss still is hard. You've known my story for decades, and now it's become part of your story as well, and this is not a story that you wanted to belong to.
But also, after he passed, I didn't know what I was dealing with, really. I was very uneducated in this realm of depression or suicide, and then being in the public eye dealing with celebrity paparazzi was not. I'm a normal person. I'm just the average housewife. I'm the ex-wife. I had moved on with my life, so to have it that come full circle and back into my life really was so scary. So I removed ourselves, and bringing this up today being so fresh and new, I don't know if there's any time lapse. I think even when I'm sitting here with you today, it's just as fresh and new for you right now with your brother as your best friend knowing you and seeing you. And this psychological pattern or this disease or whatever the professionals call all this, because I'm not, and I don't know what it is, but yes, you definitely are experiencing it for the first time. But I'm realizing, and I'm really sorry, and I've had a chance to say this to you before, but I want to have a chance to say it to you where other people can listen, is that I'm so sorry for your loss, and not only for your brother, but for one of your best friends as well, because you guys were very close. And I'm sure it's a trigger and PTSD and all of those things, and I'm at a loss sometimes for words and how to describe how we're feeling and what we're going through. But what I do like about this is being a part of something where we can help others And how are we surviving with this new, now normal, with the loved ones not in our lives when that's all we've known? Like, I've known Chester longer in my life than I haven't, and most people don't know that.
I think what's so interesting is that every time you have something very traumatic that happens in your life, so this gets magnified because this was such a pivotal moment in my life. My life changed from I was a 15-year-old teenager to after this moment completely changed. And through my divorce, it really brought up all these emotions, and it made it even more magnified. And many people were worried about me because how am I going to cope with this, and how am I going to what tools am I going to use? How am I going to get through this? You know what I mean? It felt again like a whole death happening again to me. And you were so unbelievably supportive through all of that. And I know this is hard, but I remember the moment hearing that Chester was gone, and how many of my friends contacted me at that moment, so worried about how I would take it, because this had touched my life not once, but now twice. My first instinct was Draven. My first instinct was, oh my God, he's the same age I was when I lost my brother. And I didn't know how I was going to cope, and I also thought to myself, nobody knew my brother. You know, people, even my friends didn't really even know my brother. And yes, it was in the paper, but it was in like a local small paper. I can't even imagine having this on, you know, a massive international stage.
This is not something I would wish on anyone. Because we're both in this tragic moment, I'm so grateful that one of my best friends can actually relate to my son in a way that I can't. And I want to thank you for that, and for always being there for him. And I don't know if I've ever said thank you for that or acknowledged that. Again, today is the first moment that I realized that when you kept saying 15, it wasn't your brother, it was you.
Yeah, it was me. It was me. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. That's really...
I don't know how we're not losing our shit right now, and am I allowed to cuss on a podcast?
Of course you are.
Okay, because this is like real.
No, it's really... But I think that's why we're having this discussion, because I feel like there's a lot of discussion about mental illness and what to do and popping pills. And throughout the weeks that we do these podcasts, we'll be talking about some of the things that have worked for us. What's interesting is that my brother wasn't known by anybody. And then Chester was known by like the whole world. You would think from the outside they are completely different. But on the inside, they ended up in the same place because they're more alike than you realize. And the likeness is really, I'm in pain. I need help. I need someone to see me. I need, you know, and I think one of the things that we want to do is help those that are survivors, because, I mean, I live with it every day, and it's still painful, and we were just discussing today when I was watching a movie.
There's just so many triggers that we are dealt with in regular life. I don't have television. I don't watch the news. I don't read newspapers. I might be a little ignorant into what's going on in the world, but ignorance is bliss for me at the moment. When I am on social media, I pop in and pop out because it's such a negative forum for me, but yet it's such a positive forum for business and to reach the masses when you're trying to do something great. And that's why I decided to join you on this project, because I believe in it and I want to help others. But I'm inundated by, I get phone calls from my cousin. She's already had 2 people, a friend's child commit suicide at a teenage year, and someone at her daughter's school. I've had own family members who have suffered from that, my own son's cousins that we weren't even aware of. We've had, I'm now aware of how deep depression runs in my ex-husband's family, and whether it be his cousins, his sister's father, or it's just I'm reading and reading. Anytime I open my email or get a text message, I'm like, how do these people even get my information? And it doesn't discriminate, and it jumps around, and it just consumes. It consumes lives, and yes, we're doing this in the privacy of my home because this is our first episode. So if you hear my Bengal kitties in the background, they sound like they're saying "Mom."
They're super cute.
Meow, Mom.
I love cats. They're my favorite.
and they're actually bringing in a lot of light and love. So
Yes.
thank you for babies
Yeah.
for interrupting us. If anyone can pick up on that, if not, we'll just edit it out.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point, because I think the other purpose of this podcast is that a lot of people suffer in silence. Even myself, and even people who are sitting in this room reached out to me because I don't like to show my sad face. And so when people are suffering, yes, there's plenty of numbers you can call, but a lot of times that's not enough. A lot of times you don't want to talk to somebody. You don't know what to do. And so what we want to do with this podcast is also be an outlet for, if you're suffering, to listen to us. A lot of things that saved me, one of the tools that I used was a great tool of just putting on YouTube and listening to like an Abraham Hicks, and just getting my mind, or even just instrumental music that doesn't have anything to do, like some weird music or some weird like ocean sound for like 15 minutes, so I could just like focus on that. And it's kind of like
Kelly Howell is also a great tool too for others.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can get professional help, and we're definitely saying get professional help, but sometimes the first step could be just listening. Just listening to someone who's been through it. And I think also too, there is still a stigma. There is still a stigma with me feeling this way. Like, it's been so many years, like, get over it or whatever. You know what I mean? I think there still is a stigma.
This is something, can I interject really quick? As a tool for professional help, when you're dealing with your past, that's where therapists are the most profound. Therapists really go in, a psychologist really goes in and deals with your past. I kind of want to be clear, because as a life coach and as a DNA theta healer, although I'm not saying I'm a professional in this subject, because I am not. Right. But a psychologist and a therapist deals with your past. If you have PTSD, or if you are traumatized for something from your past, that's where a therapist is really going to be profound for you. And including podcasts and Abraham Hicks and Kelly Howell, or ocean sounds or nature sounds, or anything that's a healthy distraction. Yeah, exactly. So we do encourage anyone who is at their breaking moment, get off this, close this out, call anyone, call suicide hotline, call where did you go that you love.
Well, I went to a group, and that's what I was saying, is that I went to something called Survivors of Suicide Loss, and that really helped me, because I realized that one thing that did help me before was I went to a group in Cottonwood and spoke to other people who had been through this, and actually spoke to families who had kids, teenagers who had tried to commit suicide but hadn't made it through, and spoke to them so they could see. I think it's also important so they could see the aftermath, so they could see, what does that call it? The cartilage, or
what did you call it, Zach?
Carnage.
Carnage. Oh, the carnage.
Wow. It really is the carnage.
The carnage, the aftermath, and it really helped a lot of those kids rethink about, wow, if I do this, look at what I'm doing to my family, my friends, all that kind of stuff.
By the way, folks, please welcome Zach to the table, because he's really a great producer, and we couldn't do this without him.
Yeah, so we appreciate it.
Hello.
But I think that's one of the things that is important too, about getting help in a way that makes sense for you. Not everything works, because you're like, for you to go to Survivors of Suicide Loss, that might not work for you because you're in the public eye. It worked great for me because I'm not in the public eye.
I wouldn't go without you. Are you crazy? Yeah. Like, I definitely would not go without you. I would be so scared. And I would be scared that there would be maybe some fans, you never know, they either love you or hate you because you were married, because you're divorced, or I would be scared I'd be judged. I wouldn't feel that's a safe place. I would be, this is why I love. And I know you didn't ask me, but I kind of was like, when you told me about this project, I was like, Pamela, I love this. I believe in you so much. Can I help? What can I do? How can I be involved? Like,
well, I'm very appreciative. Thank you so much. This is wonderful because I really feel that us knowing each other for so long, and it's not, bullshit. It's like, for listeners out there, I knew Samantha and Chester way before they were famous. They had come to a little label that I worked for, Radioactive Records, and it was the last band actually that I tried to sign before I left the label.
Sister labeled MCA
Yeah,
Records.
Sister labeled MCA Records, and we just became really good friends, and
I've been scrutinized though, because people have thought that I should be doing more because I am in the public eye, and it never occurred to them that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to raise a son whose father just passed and trying to live and survive myself. I mean, again, I cannot stress enough that as in my years of age, which I'm not even shy, I just turned 47 years old. I have known Chester longer as being alive than I haven't. He has been a part of my life more than he hasn't. It's the closest person to me that knows me in a way intimately more than your own mother and father. I don't know how to deal with that loss. So when people expect me to be public, when I don't even know how to live, but yet my son is a priority, excuse me, I want to say go bleep yourself, because I don't have a manual and my child and our family comes first. So I'm glad that I'm rising like as a phoenix and trying to use my tools and my professionalism that I've gone to school for, that I can help myself pull myself out that damn rabbit hole, because I'm a person that loves life. You're a person that loves life, Pamela. We love life.
Well, not as much as dessert, but
yeah, but when I learned from you of hard times, I was very surprised, because you're a ray of sunshine. Aww. And I think people think the same thing from me, because I'm just so flighty and bubbly and full of positivity and energetic. But you know what? I'm human, and I go down that damn rabbit hole, and if I go so damn dark and deep, it takes every skill I have. And I'll tell you what, Stevie Nicks, God bless your soul, you're going to heaven, because if it wasn't for you, that's been my tool. When I'm funky or in deep thought or even super happy, she's not a negative for me. She's my go-to. Yeah. I want everyone, whether it's a sport, if you're into soccer, football, whatever, it's healthy. If you need to hit the gym, if you need to just see a friend and get a glass of wine, as long as you're not an alcoholic, of course. You know what I mean?
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. But seriously, and I'm not a huge drinker, but for a minute, I was drinking some sorrows away. Healthy distractions are the biggest key that I've used with my life coaching. And now I apply them. Not only have I always applied them to my life, but I apply them to my life even with my son. Like if I notice he's starting to get reclusive, and he's the quiet type. He's cool, mellow, his dad, so he's more recluse. So I need to take him out and know what he needs. And a lot of times I think outdoor activities, getting away from your electronics, getting out and grounding, taking a walk on the beach, sticking your feet barefoot in grass, it just grounds you back to Mother Nature, and it really brings your mental health. Healthy distraction gets you out of your head, gets you out of your thought process, and goes, ooh, that grass feels good underneath my feet. If that tickles, oh, that feels better. And all of a sudden, endorphins. You're working out, endorphins. Go make love to your husband. I mean, sex would make everybody happier. I mean, go get a boyfriend. Go make out. Go have a little. Not sex. Saying go, but it is. Sex is healthy. Yeah, sex is and people forget. Go friends, laughter, comedy. We always talk about comedy. And I
survived because of my friends. I know that I've survived everything because of my friends. I've had fantastic friendships, including, yours, obviously, for decades now. And I wouldn't have been able to survive. But I do appreciate you saying what you're saying about the being sunshine. And I think one of the things that we have in common is people expect us to be sunshine. So they expect us to be strong. And the minute we're not strong, and the minute we're not sunshine, they're like, who the hell is that? You know what I mean? And it's very hard that people are like, oh, you can handle it, you're strong. And sometimes we're like, fuck you, I'm not strong enough. Like, I can't handle this. Like, I can't handle this.
Do you ever get mad? Because I got really pissed off the other day when somebody was like, oh, but you're strong, you can do this. And I'm like, well, I got really bratty, and I was like, I don't feel like being strong. Why do I have to be strong? Why am I the strong one? Yeah, you know what? No, you be strong. You go ahead and be a single mom and deal with all the haters that never even met you. You go ahead and get scrutinized all over, have your name smeared, have to work twice as hard, being a woman in the industry. Don't even get me going there, and I'm not a huge feminist. Although I do believe in equal pay. Can I say that? Equal pay. Anyways, it's just like, hello, people. What happened? Social media just became a forum to not being a human being and not being kind?
Well, I think that's another aspect of having friends and having, the best things that friends have given me is why you want to reach out to someone you can really trust is they will give you a fresh perspective. They will give you a fresh perspective on yourself. They will get you out of your head and thinking of the way, because you have this own record that you play about yourself.
Your own little movie, I call it.
Yeah. And it's like, you need that other person to be like, well, your record's wrong. Like, or your movie's wrong. Like, you have a scene, you're missing this whole scene of yourself.
You narrated this, but you didn't even add this whole other story to it. Yeah.
So I think that
we're all guilty of that, for sure.
No, we're all guilty, and it's how, it's utilizing everything that's available to us. And I think also it's very personal. I think that there isn't a one size fits all. There isn't just,
and
I'm not encouraging people to call the number. I am saying call the number, talk to somebody, but I'm also saying there are other things that could maybe help you if you can't do that right now.
Do anything and everything that can help you. Whether it's calling a hotline, talking to a family member, talking to a friend, talking to a freaking stranger, if that's
but also maybe it's not talking at all. Maybe it's just listening. Maybe it's just listening.
Whether it's to us, Abraham Hicks, Kelly Howell, sound waves,
or whatever works for you.
Whatever. There is
cat sounds.
Listening to Ferris.
Listening to cat sounds.
Mom, let me out. I could actually let them out. We thought they would be a little more quiet. You're right. Let me go do that.
Okay.
We'll have a little fur baby energy. Hello. He said hello. So we've got the fur babies under control. Yay. Apollo's running around. Ferris Bueller and Willow are now in their cat trees and hanging out, and life is all well for them. It's interesting, being an animal, they have no clue what's going on. As long as they're loved and fed, and God, wouldn't that be so nice? I wanted to address something that I've been glossing over, and I know that we're talking about suicide, and I have not been addressing our situation, and I keep saying he's passed. And for one, it is so fresh for me. Yeah. For two, I'm very uncomfortable with the whole situation, and it's vulnerable. And I have mixed emotions. I don't know everything. I only have a death certificate that tells me, but I wasn't there, and I keep trying to put pieces together, and I don't want him to be the face of depression, and I know that a lot of the family feels that way. And I'm just going to speak for my son and I, and as soon as he's ready to speak, he will. And I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone else. I just because you're in the public eye, I didn't see your famous and favorite comic, Robin Williams. His family didn't do that and make him the... I know we have a fiduciary responsibility when you sign up to become famous, or I don't think they sign up to become famous.
Yeah.
I think they chase their calling and their God-given talent, and it ends up that their careers blossom and that their dreams come true. But with that, they become isolated as your brother became. And there they became the same. In the same lane, I heard you say earlier. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what career you have or
still feeling alone. I mean, you might have, he had nobody around him, so he's feeling alone, whereas Chester had all these people around him feeling alone.
I feel like sometimes I even blame myself. Especially at first, I was like, oh my God, did I abandon him by divorcing him? Did I do... And it doesn't matter who he is, right? Like,
no, it doesn't.
It's not
about who he is.
It's not about who he is.
It's who he was to you.
Right. And that's what I can share right now is just how I feel and how I cope. That's how I would love to share with the audience. And
no, I mean, that's what we're all doing. And I think that's the purpose of this, is that to hear other people and how they're coping with it, because probably a lot of what I've said and a lot of what you said, other people are like, oh wow, I felt that, or I felt that, and no one really talks about it. No one really puts it out there. It's all under the disguise of mental health, and honestly, the purpose of Steven Frain Sister is more about not really us, but what we can do to help others. And I think that's the beauty of this, is that we never thought we were going to be in this situation. We've been friends for so long. This is authentic. This isn't bullshit. This is what we're going through. And, I'm so appreciative that we actually have each other to go through this. I mean, I'm not great. I don't want to say I'm grateful, because I never wanted you to be in this position. Like, you to be in this position and me to be in this position twice fucking sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it's horrible. But if there is any good that can come out of it, it is what we can offer other people as a coping mechanism, as something that can enrich their life. And actually, the more I realized, and I'm going to go back to when we were talking about survivors of suicide loss, I never realized that going to that group, it helped me, because people, unfortunately like you, were coming in and it was fresh. And somehow my own experience could help their pain. And for some reason, that helped me feel better. Like there was some purpose, like I was doing something to help others. And I think that's really, what we're trying to do.
I want to feel like that, and I'm getting there, and that's why I signed up for this.
You're doing a great job.